Clint Eastwood, Marion Barry, and Legionnaire's disease are all on this day. Welcome back to On This Day. Today's date is January 18th, 2022. It is the 18th day of the year. We got 347 days left. It is the third Tuesday in the fourth week and the 29th day of winter. If today's your birthday, you are a Capricorn, but we've been over that already several times. Today is Winnie the Pooh Day. Winnie the Pooh Day seeks to honor the designer of the character, Alan A. Milne. They go through this whole story about who Winnie the Pooh is on here, but we all know who Winnie the Pooh is. It's one of the greatest characters that was ever made by Disney or anyone else that makes children's content. Milne first wrote about Winnie the Pooh in 1926 in his book Winnie the Pooh, simply titled. Walt Disney gained the rights to Winnie the Pooh and Milne's stories in 1961. Since then, Disney has made the character sort of iconic. I mean, like I said, everyone knows who Winnie the Pooh is. I always found Winnie the Pooh very interesting. Even when my kids were young, I actually kind of rediscovered him. And I remembered that watching Winnie the Pooh or anything to do with Winnie the Pooh sort of calmed me down. And as a kid, I was hyperactive and I had ADHD and all that stuff. But for some reason, Winnie the Pooh calmed me down. It's weird. Winnie the Pooh Day has been around since they figure about 1986. It was not really an official holiday or anything like that, but people started celebrating this day on January 18th, around 1986 or 1987, they figure. All right, let's see what else January 18th has given us. 1778, James Cook is the first known European to discover the Hawaiian Islands, which he names the Sandwich Islands. 1886, modern field hockey is born with the formation of the Hockey Association of England. I've played field hockey a couple times. It's kind of fun, I have to admit. 1919, World War I, the Paris Peace Conference opens in France. 1969, United Airlines Flight 266 crashes into the Santa Monica Bay, killing all 32 passengers and 6 crew members. 1977, scientists identify previously unknown bacterium as the cause of the mysterious Legionnaire's disease. 1978, the European Court of Human Rights finds the United Kingdom's government guilty of mistreating prisoners in Northern Ireland, but not guilty of torture. 1981, Phil Smith and Phil Mayfield parachute off a Houston skyscraper, becoming the first 2 people to base jump from objects in all 4 categories: buildings, antennas, spans, and earth, meaning cliffs. And spans is bridges. Basically, this is dudes that go up, or women for that matter, go up to a really high place with a parachute and jump off like they're in an airplane, like a very tall building, a giant bridge, things like that. Cliffs. In the 80s, this was totally insane. Nowadays, they got those guys in those flying squirrel suits that kind of blow the base jumping thing out of the water. 1983, the International Olympic Committee restores Jim Thorpe's Olympic gold medals to his family. So if you don't know who Jim Thorpe is, Jim Thorpe was the first Native American to win a gold medal for the United States in the Olympics. He's considered one of the most versatile athletes of modern sports. He won 2 Olympic gold medals, one in the pentathlon, and that's classic pentathlon, not the one with the horses, and the decathlon. He also played American football, both collegiate and professional, and he was a professional basketball player and baseball player. And that's where it got sticky. Back in the day, you had to be considered an amateur athlete, like a college student or whatever, to be in the Olympics. Well, they found out after the Olympics, Jim Thorpe had been paid to play minor league baseball for 2 seasons before the Olympics. They didn't know about this going into the Olympics. So when they found out, they said he wasn't an amateur and stripped him of his gold medals. These days, the United States lets anyone be in the Olympics. I mean, we've used professional hockey players, basketball players to play in the Olympics, but back in the day, this was a thing. It was sort of BS because forever other countries just let whoever play. Like the Russians were big on letting their ice hockey players play in the Olympics that were supposedly part of the army. Well, they just played hockey for the army. They did nothing else but play hockey. So they had far more experience and far more time to train than any other country playing hockey against them in most cases. And after going back and forth about this for years, we just said, fine, just anyone can play as long as they're from the United States. Jim Thorpe went on to play baseball and football professionally for many teams for many years, but sadly he died broke. in 1953, not too far from where I grew up, in Lomita, California. I grew up in Redondo and Torrance, which is right next to Lomita. And he died penniless. So in 1983, 50 years after Jim Thorpe's death, they decided to give him back his gold medals. Interesting fact about Jim Thorpe, there's a town in Pennsylvania called Jim Thorpe. Used to be called something else, but they changed it to Jim Thorpe to honor him. It's a cute little town. Got a nice little scenic railroad there, and they also have Jim Thorpe's remains in a nice little monument in kind of a tribute to him. He started his career about 100 miles away from Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania, and that's kind of, so he's like a local legend there, even though it was 100 miles away. I don't know. But his wife gave the remains there, and they named the town after him. That was part of the deal. Years later, his son tried to sue the town and get the dad's remains back and force them to change their name. Didn't work out for him. 1990, Washington, D.C.'s mayor, Marion Barry, is arrested for drug possession in an FBI sting. Yes, I've talked about this before on the other channel, maybe even this one. He was caught on videotape in a room with a prostitute smoking crack. Yes, the best part about that story, if there is a best part about it, after he got out of jail, he ran for office again and became Washington, D.C.'s mayor again. They re-elected him. Still, I think that's one of the strangest stories in American politics ever. 1993, Martin Luther King Jr. Day is officially observed for the first time in all 50 states. Yes, Arizona finally got on board with it. 2005, the Airbus A380, the world's largest commercial jet, is unveiled in a ceremony in France. Movies released on January 18th, 1967, A Fistful of Dollars. This is one of Clint Eastwood's best movies. The man with no name enters a Mexican village and pits two rival families against each other in a town that knows no limits. That's kind of how they describe it. The movie was actually filmed in 1964, but they didn't release it for 3 years. I like this movie. It's a good Clint Eastwood movie. Born on January 18th, 1980, Jason Segal, known for his comedic roles on CBS's How I Met Your Mother, NBC's Freaks and Geeks, which was a great show that ended far too early. He won a Chicago Critics Lifetime Achievement Award in 2011. He played roles in Knocked Up, The 5-Year Engagement, Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Greatest comedy movie, I should say. If you ever get a chance, watch that. And he was also in The Muppets. He's played a bunch of different roles. He grew up near Malibu, California, and began acting, and one of the first things he got was Freaks and Geeks in 1999. Great show. He did the screenplay for Forgetting Sarah Marshall, and it's about a celebrity who's dating another celebrity, and she breaks up with him because she's dating another celebrity on the side, and he's heartbroken. Well, he based the script off of something that really happened to him. Died on January 18th, just last year, 2021, Don Sutton, Hall of Fame pitcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers, who later transitioned into a broadcasting career. When I was a kid, he came to our school. I think I was like in the second grade. All we could talk about is how he was on a show called Wonder Bug, one of those Sid and Marty Krofft shows. He was on there one time, and that's all we could talk about. Nobody wanted to talk baseball with him. We just wanted to talk to him about being on the Wonder Bug show. He was selected to 4 Major League Baseball All-Star games from 1972 to 1977. Don Sutton is in the 300 Club. That's Major League Baseball's pitchers that have had 300 wins in their career. There's not a lot of people on this list, and they go all the way back to the 1800s. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go out, have a productive day, and be nice to each other.